Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your t-shirted historian, and welcome to another Week in Geek. Oh man, the t-shirted one is tired. I don't know why. I got plenty of sleep, I think, for the last couple of nights. I've been staying up late, not doing anything particularly exciting or, involved. It's just, I typically just like to stay up late and sleep late. I don't know. It's just my thing. But it seems like all the caffeine in the world is not keeping me up today. So here I am firing down another monster and guzzling down some coffee and chai tea and hoping that I can manage to keep my eyes open for this 1 hour. Hopefully we're exciting enough that, we can keep you guys awake for an hour, at least. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. I'm just worn out. I'm not tired of YouTube. I like YouTubing. I like hanging out with you guys. I like seeing everybody every week. I like having discussions with my friends, my panelists, as it is. I like doing this kind of thing. But just the day-to-day cycle of having to go to work every day and deal with that shit has just worn me out, man. I'm just getting old, I guess, maybe, but I've been working since I was 16. I'm 50 now, and I don't know. Tired. And I was talking to our guest today, Taylor Lane, before the show started. And, he's got it pretty good. The guy works hard, of course. He writes a lot of stuff. But he's also smart enough to set up his living situation to where he doesn't have to live hand to mouth every day, where he has free time to do the things that he wants to do. And I think that's part of it, if I could quit my job and just go YouTube full time for fun, I would do it. But unfortunately, I need that income to survive. I got bills to pay. I got shit to do. So I soldier on. What else can I do? Ain't like my problems are unique. A lot of other people are in the same boat. We'd love to be doing what we really want to do, but we can't all write comics for a living and make money on it and all that sort of thing. Be great. I'd love to be Eric July. I'd love to be Animane. I'd love to be any of these other guys who can live that dream, and I know they work hard at it, and I know it's involved, and I know they take chances. And Animane's my friend, and I talk to him pretty frequently, and I know he struggles, but he's still, putting out his effort to live the dream and make it. And that's basically how I kind of view my situation. It's kind of like, this is just paying dues till you get where you want to get. I'm not at my monetization level on YouTube yet. I think even when I do get there, if they say, okay, I'm still going to have to struggle for a while, even after that, because it's not like, YouTube's going to be suddenly replacing my regular income. I have no illusions about that. But, it's just kind of a means to an end. It's like I've been saying to people, it's like YouTube is kind of like a retirement job or an exit strategy at some point. But till then, like I said, just got to soldier on and keep my eyelids open and keep trudging. It's what we do. Got to work our way to that dream. Speaking of which, my fellow dreamers. Start with my friend Ironcaster.
Hello, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Just kind of, enjoying my nice little 3-day weekend here. It's Easter. We're upon us.
Yeah.
So happy Easter to those that celebrate.
Yes, indeed. And same for me. I'm on that holiday as well, and that may be why I'm so tired too. Because it's every time you have like a day off or something like that, it really throws your rhythm off.
Yeah, they come and go, and unfortunately, we're sort of still in that kind of part of the year where we're not getting a ton of them. I mean, they're kind of nice to have, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, unless you want to talk about Bravern, which was like the best anime this last season, but that's another discussion.
And Freeren's over for
There's
now.
No chance well, we're getting Konosuba season 3 here in a couple weeks.
Oh, that'll be good. I'm actually watching Berserk 97 now.
Oh,
yep, getting through it. It's as good as I remember it, but
I should watch that at some point.
Yeah, it's kind of showing its age. And they do leave a few things out.
But I mean, I'm enjoying like Devilman from the 70s, so age isn't too much of an issue for me.
Yeah, the old stuff is still the best.
True.
But I do like what they're doing with the newer stuff too. I mean,
but and we got stuff. I think we have some other old stuff to bring in.
We do. We have Grimm, the other old stuff.
You paid your due check? Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
That's right. I wish it were, but how you doing, man?
I'm old stuff, apparently.
You're old stuff. Okay, I
send my love.
I've seemed to have sorted out my Discord problems by starting up a new one and getting stuff transferred. So that's been a stressful few days.
I imagine so.
Don't try and hire artists via Twitter anymore. It's impossible. Too many bots and scammers.
Well, you still got me. I mean, if you like my stuff. But,
I need a very particular style for this project.
So. Yes, you do.
You need a particular set of skills.
Yes.
Yes. And we are very fortunate to have with us today the ever wonderful, ever effervescent Harmony Ginger.
You're expanding my vocabulary.
Effervescent?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I know that one.
Hold on.
Fizzy.
Hello. Oh, okay. Yeah.
The dictionary definition of a liquid giving off bubbles, fizzy, but the second is more appropriate. Vivacious and enthusiastic.
Okay. I'll take that.
There you go.
It sounds good.
And that was T-shirt with your word of the day.
The word today was
well, I learned something.
There you go. And our special guest today is I should say it's one of the hardest working guys in the RPG industry, because the guy's always putting new stuff out and he's always getting engagement on social media. Mr. Taylor Lane.
Hey. I would not think of myself as the hardest working person in the industry. That's it's got to be like 100,000 more people that I don't know.
Head to head with Alex T, maybe.
Yeah, Alex T, definitely. That guy's always got another project in the mill. We should get you guys on at the same time sometime. You guys would swap stories. It'd be fun.
Yeah, sure.
So how you doing? It's been a while.
It has. Well, it's been a lot of ups and downs. I don't know what level of personal I'm supposed to get about it, but
Just what you feel comfortable with.
My cat died, and I moved country a couple times.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Cat AIDS. Apparently, that's a thing that they can die of.
It is. It's incredibly transmissible in here. Say I'm in Florida. We have a lot of feral cats. So one of the first things they check for when you bring in a cat to the vet. It's horrific. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
How did it jump species like that? That's crazy.
Oh no, it's you go.
She has a mouthful of liquid.
Huh? Me?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about it. Sorry.
It's just feline immunodeficiency virus. I don't know if it's the same one, but it's very similar.
Yeah, I'm not certain either. I just know it's a thing.
It's distinct. It's not the same. You're not going to get FIV from your cat.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got you on here today. What are we discussing?
Well, I'll be discussing.
We have a plan.
Definitely.
if not, then I'll just roll into my usual.
What's your most recent stuff, Taylor? What have you been working on?
So most recently, I put out something called the Evil Undead campaign.
Yeah.
Which started as me making an elaborate mechanical joke that I do not think anybody else got, even remotely. It really came out of me looking over the rules of 3rd edition, because given that I was born in 1994, that is the edition that I grew up on, and I have its rules memorized, for better or for worse. And looking at it once again and be like, well, HP is sure ridiculous. You fight just as well at 100 as you do at 1, and wow, it sure is ridiculous that you somehow get better at everything when you kill things, and the et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, oh, these are rules that more fit some sort of evil, omnicidal, undead being than a living person.
Well, all I got out of it was when your joke doesn't work so well, so you make a product to sell the joke.
Yeah. I honestly thought you were inspired by the anime that's out right now about the Paladin.
No, didn't hear about it.
Yep. Oh, I have to look it up, the name of it again. But yeah, there's an anime that's out now that it's about a child who's raised by 3 undead, and he becomes a paladin. And I thought, oh, that sounds like that might have been some of the inspiration. But no, it's like Taylor's like, nah, just wanted to play some dead things and kill people. It's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, paladin, your poor mother's turning in her grave.
Yeah. It's really just motivated by my own murder hobo-iness and me thinking that it would be funny to have a campaign devoted to, okay, but how do we kill this entire city all at once? Or, well poisoning kill streak, or I don't know, how do we cause an avalanche? This valley's full of people. We'd get so much XP. Et cetera, et cetera. And it's been a lot of fun so far. It's in my weekly rotation.
So it's kind of like a variation on the Everybody's Evil campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Nice.
Sounds like it requires a particular type of player.
Definitely.
I mean,
I like it though.
All the players in my regular group, including myself, go evil at the drop of a hat. We're all perfectly fine people in real life. We just, I don't know.
Oh, sure.
Different strokes for different folks.
Oh, I run evil games too.
Well, I mean, it's very normal, because sometimes you just want to be able to let a little stress off and get a chance to do the things you don't get to do in your life. Like, oh, I'm going to be the villain, and I'm going to go around and I'm going to bash in the heads of all the hookers and GTA, that sort of thing.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing is it avoids the whole self-insert stuff that we usually have happening in most modern campaigns. So that's cool,
Maybe for you. No, I'm sorry.
Harmony is actually a supervillain.
We played an Abyssal Exalted game once, where we were all supposed to be playing villains, and I played this sort of Chamberlain necromancer, partially based on Glocta from that series of novels, and shocked everyone because I said, "No, don't kill everyone. Where will we get new bodies? Keep some alive for breeding camps." And that kind of ended the game.
But that makes sense, though.
I know it makes sense. Yeah, that's just I apparently got into being evil more than anyone else.
I hate it.
I mean, if you're gonna be evil, don't be the Diet Coke of evil. Go full-fledged. Yeah. That sounds fun. I mean, one of our friends is supposed to be writing something like that too, but for some reason, Bruno hasn't finished it yet. So, Bruno, you better get on the ball, damn it. Taylor's got you beat.
He had another baby. He's busy.
Sounds like he was busy before he had the other baby.
Well, yes. Got busy, then is busy.
Yes.
Which one? What's the name of his project? I might have heard of it.
He doesn't have it out. He's been working on it for the last, 4 years.
Yeah, it's Undead Malefactors, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I actually talked to him about that years ago. One of the classes in this actually started as me trying to convince him to let me help him on that. I was like, I have really cool ideas. And he's like, I'm not interested. And I'm like, I'm going to write them up. And he's like, well, it's not what I'm looking for. And I'm like, I'm going to publish it anyways. And eventually I came back to that.
That's always a good idea too. And when you're doing like proof of concept type stuff.
Yeah.
I should do stuff like that. I always come up with ideas for stuff and I never act on it. It was my problem. So if somebody were wise, they would sit there and just go or start writing down everything that I say and just eventually have a whole book full of shit that they would.
You just need to keep a notepad and a pen on you and just write down your ideas. Beer milkshakes.
Yeah, hey, beer milkshakes.
My productivity advice here is when I'm doing tabletop RPG stuff, whenever I try into a big, long project, it fails. I've tried that twice, and they've been multi-year projects, and you have never seen anything of them because they failed. And when I try and make the tiny 10 to 50 page version of the idea that's just, this is a game and it's the smallest version of that game and you're going to have to be happy with it, or this is one supplement and it's 1 to 5 pages or something like that, and I just put it out there.
I always wondered about that, which is more viable, to put out one $30 product that's got lots of pages and is really intricate and all that, or to put out 30 99-cent products and see which one actually scores better.
I mean, even if they were, so part of the problem there is literally just payment processors. Mm-hmm. Because PayPal's business structure is they take a fixed fee plus a percentage. So if you have more smaller payments, you're getting a smaller cut of your own money.
Well, Grim, I mean, you work through Lulu. How do they do that?
So they have a minimum amount, which is the manufacturing price. So that's as low as you can set it. Presumably that has some profit for them as well in it. But if you want to sell through Amazon and other storefronts, then that baseline price goes up quite a long way because they take quite a significant cut. I generally reckon on about 3 times manufacturing cost makes a good cover price, round up or down, so you can get that all important .99 on the end, and then you're good to go, really. And then price the PDF at least half of what the hard copy is.
Ginger's taking notes.
What, me? No. Think I'm
I
ever
think
gonna
there's
change anything?
when
You
when I started out, you couldn't really charge more than $10 for a PDF.
Yeah.
It's like this steep psychological barrier. So once you were past $9.99, sales took a dive. That hasn't changed that much, but I'd say the barrier's probably around $14.99 now. So
Yeah. I remember a lot of my early days, we were selling stuff around like $5 or $6. $8 for something really big, relatively speaking. But I guess, yeah, things haven't changed all that much. I mean, it's kind of like, just speaking as on the consumer part, what gets me to buy a product on like DTRPG or in these other sites is, do I have money available and is the product worth it? I mean, or do I think it will be worth it? I mean, it's like if it catches me and I'm just a little bit short of cash, I'll usually find a way to get, like the extra couple of bucks or whatever to get it. If it's something really horribly expensive, it's kind of like, well, that's going to have to wait for a paycheck. But if it's something small, like say, like the complete Minotaur class or something I'd be interested in, and they're only charging like $6 for it. I'm likely to want to go ahead and just snag it, just so I can check out what it is immediately. Versus like say somebody puts out like, the God Book of Minotaurs for, and it's 300 pages and it's like $40 and $90 in print. And I'm kind of, okay, that's going to have to wait for a paycheck. So you're going to get more impulse sales from me if it is a smaller product at a smaller price. But that's just me. I don't know how everybody else thinks.
Things that T-shirt has advertised to me from Drive-Thru RPG: Minotaurs and Kinks and Cantrips. I'm sensing a pattern.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe am I projecting?
I don't know.
you're sharing your enthusiasm. It's endearing.
I'm not a furry, okay? I'm not.
You're a leathery.
It's okay if you are.
I'm not. I'm really not. Now one of my DM, who's one of my best friends, is a furry, pretty dyed in the wool furry. So yeah, a lot of his games end up kind of being a little bit like my special realm type things, but we overlook it because he runs a good game. What?
Roll save versus Yif.
Well, kinda. It's not necessarily that bad, but it's I'm not surprised when a lot of that kind of seeps into the game, and I'm just kind of like, okay, well, he's got to have fun too. So
I have fun with my games, and I don't think I've ever once put a kink in it that I'm aware of. Okay, maybe. New subject. Let's go on.
I don't know. I think I've had players try and I don't know how to phrase this. What would you say the TV rating of this channel is?
Say whatever the fuck you want.
Okay. I have had players attempt to seduce me into giving them favorable outcomes in the game.
Did it work?
Weird, but it. I don't think so.
Psst, come on, DM. Blow you in the back of the building. If you give me an XP.
I mean, they weren't even whispering. Was the thing? It was in front of everyone.
Wow, that's desperation. They obviously, I don't think they were really expecting you to follow through with that. The funny thing is, if you actually say okay, Let's go then. You know.
Yeah.
No, the most interesting thing you could do is accept it from some players and not others. Cause table drama.
Yeah, that would
It's their own fault.
that would cause some definite
Friendo.
issues. I don't know. I'd ask Castor if he ever has any games like that with Tabletop Junkie, but they're really good friends, and I don't want to cause a rift there because I know Junkie's married. So.
I surprisingly have very few issues with that. Yeah.
What?
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 Wait, issues with what? Being married, Castor?
No. Players attempting to seduce me for XP bonuses.
Oh, or
Hi,
or
welcome
stuff.
back, Ironcaster.
Ironcaster, have you ever had a player ask, offer to blow you for something in game?
He's thinking.
I can't say I have. I maybe at the bot. Maybe like I repressed these memories, but I can't say that's ever happened to me before. No.
Come on, Ironcaster. I know you've probably had a player tell
Come
you.
with me, monkey lad.
No, they leaned in real close and went, "I like your beard."
You got a birdie GM screen.
By Jove, have I told you how much I like to handle your dice?
I sure like to put your dice in my mouth. Like, what?
What? No, nobody does that. It's kind of like, you know what? You can just swallow them fuckers and keep them because I ain't going to touch them again.
Good news. They're suppositories.
Yes. Even better. Mercurius for Australian $2. Thank you, sir. Happy Easter, folks. And you didn't ask for a clip. You got to ask for a clip. Guys, come on now. You know the channel rule. You got to ask for a clip if you're gonna give us a thing. Otherwise, I have to just throw something out there.
Happy Easter, Mercurius.
Yes.
Yeah, it's spring. That's why everyone's being horny.
I can't wait for my Catholic friends who gave up social media for Lent to come back.
Is that what happened?
I have a few of them that did, and I'm missing them on Twitter. Sorry, just an aside.
It's Zombie Jesus Day.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Actually, I've been eating fish every Friday, just like a good Catholic should. So, in the spirit of that, let's have someone else
You're allowed
eating
to eat
something.
puffins.
What?
You're allowed to eat puffins and other seabirds. They count as fish according to Catholicism.
I don't eat any. There's no puffins here.
Cormorants, seagulls.
I'm in fucking the middle of West Texas.
Wait.
That sounds pretty
You can
foul.
eat cormorants? You can eat these things?
You according to Catholicism, seabirds count as fish
What?
for the Friday eating thing.
I mean, they do eat fish.
Huh.
Capybara also count as fish.
No, don't eat capybara. Jesus Christ, no, don't do that.
No,
They're so cute.
The monks in South America, they petitioned some pope or another to let them do it, and the pope was like, "Sure, that sounds like a fish to me. Do whatever you need to do."
Sure, fry me up one.
I'm just gonna.
This motherfucker eating bees. Wait, no, it's not true. It's not true.
I love how religions game the rules. It's great.
It is.
Wow.
Getting back to games.
Yeah.
Where do we go from there?
Pretty anti-capybara consumption.
Yeah, they're too cute. I couldn't eat a capybara.
But to absorb their power and cuteness.
I couldn't eat a capybara without barbecue sauce.
Pick them.
I think the
well,
obvious.
Ironcaster had to leave today.
I think the obvious segue would be Catholicism to Warhammer. Do we have any Warhammer stories?
Oh God, Karl Franz did nothing wrong. Good Lord. Oh. Well, Taylor, what else are you working on?
I've got a few projects that are basically playtest ready.
Yeah, you've got the Sumeria Mesopotamia one, right?
Yes, that is weirdly what has the most traction. Although I've also got a Pacific Islander game and a post-Roman Britain game and a couple supplements that I'm sort of just got in the pipeline. But everyone's into the Sumerian thing, and I don't totally see why, but I appreciate the attention.
I like it. I mean, Sumeria Mesopotamia is really cool to me. I like to study the mythology, and I like to study the history of that, and Assyria, of course. But
yeah.
But that whole little cross section of the world is just neat, and I love that history.
Yeah, as a role playing setting, it's specifically I chose early dynastic period Sumeria, which is like the earliest part that like still has it's slightly past the beginning of cities and writing, but like everything's a city state. There's like maybe at the beginning of this period, like 9 cities in the entire Sumerian world. And if you want to go to anywhere else that there's cities, you have to go to Egypt or the Indus Valley civilization, both of which they have trade links with.
So we're talking priest kings and Nebuchadnezzar's laws?
We're talking before Nebuchadnezzar, like thousands of years.
Okay.
Yeah. We're talking so early that a lot of things are just vague, which is helpful for if you're trying to write a game, because you sort of have a bit of room to work with. Like I don't have to research like what was the city of Lagash doing at this time. I can just be like, well, I'm gonna make that up. But it's sort of interesting because every other Bronze Age game that I've seen in any capacity doesn't really try and start from a perspective of I am going to simulate the Bronze Age and find cool people for the PCs to be. It starts from the perspective of I am going to write D&D and it is incidentally going to be in Mesopotamia.
That is true.
I have not written Mesopotamian D&D. It is not a game about dungeon delving or the like. Sorry if you love dungeon delving.
No,
it's a game about you're all members of the court of the king of the city of Ur, and you are going to try and make the city of Ur prosper. And everyone else is going to try and make that not be the case or do even weirder things.
That actually sounds good, because it does kind of get into the whole settlement building aspects of things that I like. It also kind of sounds just a tad bit like Axe and a tad bit like RuneQuest and a tad bit like Exalted in a way, which is all good.
It sounds
all of those are analog.
Please go on.
I was just going to say, all of those are analogs that people are drawing. But the base rule set that I've built this on top of is another thing that I have yet to release called Wilderness and Civilization. And that is like 50 pages all told. So clearly I'm not taking an Axe or Exalted type of rules specificity approach. The analog the system doesn't even have a dedicated combat system. It just sort of gets folded into group ability checks as a whole. You use about the same rules to lead an army as you would to set up an institution, or as you would to try and dig a really deep hole or murder a god or whatever you need to do.
So then it sounds like it's less about what you do as the individual and more about what the group does for the betterment of the city-state.
Yeah, it's very group focused. I would not think of this as a campaign that would suffer in the least if you killed even every single PC in one session. You would just be like, okay, well, we're starting over at level 1, and we still are all just still members of the same court of the same city, and it's fine. Anyways, sorry, Harmony. What were you saying?
I've lost it long ago.
Okay.
But I do like the idea of a persistent world between PC groups. That a world that can feel what the first group of PCs did before they were all executed, and then a second world that you can put your new PCs in, or the same world. I mean, I do like the idea of the reactivity of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. A living, ongoing campaign world is always the best way to go.
Yeah,
I always think.
Go ahead.
I always think of the game Underground, the weird superhero game by Mayfair Games, because that was very much focused on making things better in your neighborhood, and so the neighborhood was given different sort of gauges of statistics like security and wealth, and if you put one up, another one might go down, and it'll present you new problems. That handled that kind of domain building, world influencing really well.
Say the name of that game again.
Underground, which is very difficult to search for.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'm just.
It's an oldie.
The superhero game by, I think it was Mayfair Games. Might have been Atlas.
Man, I sure can't find it. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's a bit like martial law.
I found it.
Ray Wininger.
Yeah, Ray Wininger.
Yeah.
He's good. I wonder what he's doing these days. Sorry, just tangenting because I recognize the name.
Yeah, it reminds me of something like a Castles of Burgundy style game. Right. I was.
Oh.
Go ahead.
No. So I'm thinking. Okay, so it's still going to be level based. I'm guessing it's going to have attributes. Maybe not the classic 6, but attribute and level based.
The Sumerian one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so the Sumerian one is, I'm kind of writing it so that in theory you can use whatever system. The Sumerian supplement. So the game system that I'm intending to play test the Sumerian supplement with is called Wilderness and Civilization.
Right.
The Sumerian game supplement is called When Kingship Descended from Heaven.
Nice.
Which I may regret naming it because that's not really searchable because it's the opening line of the Sumerian king list, but whatever. Anyways, so Wilderness and Civilization has 3 attributes: wilderness, civilization, and luck.
Mm-hmm.
Wilderness is basically your alignment with wilderness. It is your. I'll read out the rules text of the game. I'll just do that.
Okay.
Might as well. I didn't think we'd get too into the nitty gritty on this, so I did not prep for it. But let's go there. Civilization is used for NPC reactions, not getting lost, knowing things about the world, getting people to believe you when you're telling the truth, and anything high class and anything else civilized. Wilderness is used for combat, travel progress, getting people to believe you when you're lying, anything low class, and anything else wild. And luck is used for random chance, divine favor, and anything else that is neither wild nor civilized.
Okay.
Sounds different, but I like it. I mean,
And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I kind of wonder if there's not the start of a movement of gamers and stuff to kind of get away from the classic, 6-stat D&D/OSR style stuff. People are maybe starting to break out of that now. I don't know.
That we've used them for so many decades now. It's people are going back and asking, well, does it have to be this way?
Yeah.
There's a lot of 3-stat systems, I would say, for 10 years now. Into the odd cairn,
Yeah,
a lot of derivatives of those. It's sort of a thing more in the NSR movement, but the NSR movement sort of suffers from kind of being choked by Yochai Gal, kind of having a stranglehold on it. Like he literally owns the website New School Revolution. He owns the Discord of it, and he has very particular ideas about what should be in that movement and who should be allowed to be in that movement, and yada 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 yada. And let me tell you, if anyone in this chat tried to join his Discord server, they would be banned.
Oh,
wow.
that's
Even though
that's unfortunate.
So
even though I own one of his products.
Sorry.
Even though I own one of his products.
He does not care. Yeah, he doesn't care. Yeah, and I would say that, I don't know, there's a lot of discourse there has been for years about, is the OSR dead? Is it alive? Is it undead? Did we sew it out of parts and bring it back? Is it Frankenstein now? Is it a robot? Is it a cyborg? Whatever. And I will say that the OSR is definitely more disparate than maybe it was 10 years ago, as any movement would inevitably get. I think a really regrettable dynamic that happened is a lot of innovative people didn't keep innovating in the OSR. They went off to other places and they declared that they were doing something else, and then they were bigger fish in a smaller pond. And I don't really want to get into the politics of it, but obviously there were political rifts as well that drove this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the reaction from the mainstream, more traditional OSR was to sort of assume that anyone who is innovating is trying to do something untoward to them that they won't like. Like I discussed Wilderness and Civilization online as like, okay, well, what if we did big sweeping epic actions in a sort of OSR framework, like to the extent of the system's compatible with Keep on the Borderlands, but it wasn't Axe, and definitely not trying to compete with Axe, because I really don't like the tendency of people to compare Wilderness and Civilization to Axe, because if you like both, you'll like them for very different reasons. And I'm sure that there are going to be a lot of people who love Axe who will not like Wilderness and Civilization, and vice versa. They're not competing with each other, and I would never try and compete with Alexander, because I would lose.
Well, I mean, it basically kind of boils down to two camps. I mean, no matter what you want to say, it's like either you're simulationist or you're not simulationist. You know, if you're simulationist, you want more crunch and more depth and everything else. And if you're not simulationist, then you want less rules and less restrictions and more freedom to just kind of do whatever you want to do in a game.
I mean, you can definitely... Oh, go on.
No, you go.
I was going to say, I can definitely see a little bit of what you're saying. Just on Twitter, you have like a lot of the OSR is very, very fractured. And I think innovation to at least some of these people kind of reads as, you've been doing it this way for a long time. People have been pouring their hearts and souls into it for 50 years or more. We've kind of perfected these systems. So why change it? Why get something new that you're coming up with now that hasn't had the decades of playtesting? So I kind of see where they're coming from, just to play a devil's advocate on that a little bit. But
I mean, I 100%, yeah. No, I agree totally. It's very stupid to say that there's no value to any tradition, and it's very stupid to say that nothing could ever be done better, ever.
True.
Like I've made this point before on Twitter. What gets lost in a lot of discussions about is it traditional, is it innovative, is it whatever, is the traditions that just work. We don't think about as traditions. We think about as common sense. We think about it as eat your vegetables and don't live in filth and every so often take a day off to rest and recuperate. And no one really thinks about those as traditions because no one really disagrees with them.
Well, keep in mind there was a time when learning had broken down to the point where people were not smart enough to remember not to camp down or create their camp downstream from where they had their horses parked.
Right. And I did have to explain to a friend of mine that if he tried to do Joe Rogan's all meat diet, he would die. Turns out he had a dairy allergy. Was trying to treat a dairy allergy by not eating broccoli.
Oh.
I'm
Nice guy.
I'm reminded though of when we had Mark Grunhagen on, and he was talking about how he wasn't interested in systems so much anymore, but in creating settings and sort of tweaking implementations. I've always been more of a system matters person, but it is tempting a lot of the time to just somehow cram stuff into that old framework of the OSR, of the familiar D&D terms and everything. Just because there's a more ready audience for it, it has that same, not to the same degree, but it has a lot of that same sort of network externality effect that D&D has, in that there are lots of OSR people and they're willing to try different things and they're seemingly willing to buy what amounts to the same system over and over again. So it is tempting sometimes to just do the same thing to get a setting and cool ideas that you've had into more people's hands, and get it seen.
There's that. I want to address this really quick. Savo has she says, I like to think that there is a perfect RPG system still out there in the ether waiting for someone to discover it. My take on it is there really isn't a perfect RPG system out there, because there's always going to be a tendency to want to change something to kind of fit your personal dynamic or your group's dynamic just a little bit. So just by tweaking it and changing it, it's never going to be 100% perfect. But, the idea is just to find something that meshes with most of what you want in a game system. I frequently cite Torg as being my favorite system, and yet I never run it. Just because the card implementation of it is too hard to do online. It really is. If we had a way to do the cards easily, or like I had all the players with a deck of cards and everything, then I'd be like, yeah, okay, we can run Torg. But to me, that's like the best system I've ever encountered. I don't know.
Are we talking just playing cards?
No. Torg had its own set of cards that dynamically could shift the way that the game played. Not to mention, it also had the cards also had things that players could do during their turns, even on bad guys' turns or on other players' turns. And what I really enjoyed about that game was the fact that, let's say it's Grimm's turn, Okay, so then normally we've got like Harmony and Taylor and Ironcaster all sitting there just kind of going, okay, well, it's not my turn, so I'm either going to be looking up what I need to do for my next turn, or I'm going to, go, tune out and check on my phone, or I'm going to go, to the bathroom or go get a snack or something. Instead, what happens with Torg is instead of just all the other players being bored waiting for their turn, they have a handful of cards and they're looking at them and they're going, okay, Grimm's about to do something. What can I do to help him? Because I've got this whole stack of cards and I've been waiting for the perfect moment to drop this, because either I can help out Grimm do his action, or I can stop the enemy from doing something to him, or I can just change the way that this scenario is going completely with one card flip. And I liked it because it kept all the other players involved while we were gaming.
If I was trying to implement that for an online framework, I would probably sit down and figure out how to make a deck of cards work in a Google Sheets file.
Yeah. That's about all I could probably do, is to sit there and either just give everybody a big, list of Google Sheets and just say, okay, well, check your card. This is what you can do every round. But that seems a little clunkier than actually having a card on hand.
You can create custom tables for card draws in Roll20, and there are websites that do the same thing. So there are ways you can replicate it.
I might look into it. I really want to avoid Roll20, but
I thought Torg was king of the kobolds.
No. That's why I'm really hoping all the RPGs become successful with what they're wanting to do, because that would be a nice alternative to Roll20.
I don't think they're going to have a VTT, though.
I don't think they are.
So I think it's like a different market as far as I'm aware, or a different product. I don't think it's a competitor to that.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I need to check up on them and see how they're doing.
What are we talking about? Who?
All the RPGs?
It's an RPG matchmaking service that allegedly, I'm sorry, you explain it. Okay.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Okay. Yeah. I had them on last year, and all the RPGs is basically trying to build a matchmaking service for players for all different types of games. And the service itself would be free, but they would offer like little customizations and things that you could do, a little bit like D&D Beyond, but not totally, all the way over. But they were working on it, and they were making some pretty good progress. I haven't kept up with them lately to see what they're up to, and I probably should, because it's been a few months since I talked to them. But I have hopes for them.
I mean, they're probably freaking out because of a competitor of theirs has been very successful lately.
Which one?
Who?
RPG Match.
Have they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have an account there. I didn't realize they've been doing so well. That's great.
I follow him on Twitter.
Never heard of that.
Yeah. RPG Match. He's a real nice guy, actually, the guy in charge of it. I have had nothing but great interactions with him.
Same.
He's very open-minded. I really like that guy. However, I will admit I haven't really used the site. I signed up an account there, and I got on fairly recently and saw that I had a bunch of messages in my inbox and was like, I'll deal with this later. And then it logged on again.
Yeah, it looks like he's been going pretty good. I mean, he's got like studios like Renegade have signed up to like work with him, and Parrot
Oh, that's
Board.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
I love to
Check
hear
in on
that.
them. Yep. Always like it when somebody's successful. I mean,
Well, I mean, the thing is though, it is good though in a way for there to be competition in that realm, because we don't want to just have one guy out there doing it, just doing it all and then There's no innovation there at all. There's no need to try to do something to stand out. So competition's good. It'll help keep things moving.
Yeah.
Of
Absolutely.
course.
And I mean, with D&D Beyond and everything. Actually, that's something I thought of when we were talking about the OSR and NSR a little bit earlier is everybody, as much as everybody keeps getting onto us about why do you guys keep talking about D&D 5th edition, because it's like, well, because as WotC goes, so goes much of the mainstream of gaming. They create ripples whenever they move because they're the biggest thing in it.
Yeah,
but
they're the 2-ton gorilla. You can't not talk about them.
Exactly. And of course the big news is, like, oh, we're going to be putting out the new edition, which isn't actually a new edition, like by the start of next year. And I'm kind of wondering whether or not people are going to be bailing on it or how much interest it's really going to pick up. Because, I mean, are all these 5th edition players going to want to have to go and buy new books and get invested in a whole new set of rules and new systems? Or are they going to be kind of like a lot of us were whenever we had an edition change and just steadfastly just say, nah, I'm not doing that?
I mean, how did it go with 3.5 and 2.5?
Well, you talk about, what do you mean 2.5? You mean AD&D? Second edition?
Didn't they do a totally not a new edition in the middle of second?
I don't remember second.
But then they went bankrupt.
Yeah, kinda. But 3.0 and 3.5 was the main one I remember. I think most people transitioned to 3.5 pretty well because it wasn't so different that it, made you totally throw away all your old books. I mean, we didn't. And when Pathfinder First Edition came out, I showed all my players like, hey, look, this is basically 3.5, but they cut out a bunch of stuff and made it a little easier to use and all that. And my players were like, okay, well, we'll take some of the rules that we like out of 3.5 and keep them and run Pathfinder First Edition. So that's what we still do.
Yeah. This new edition seems like it's neither fish nor fowl, really. It's not really far enough along in rules changes to really seem like a new edition, but at the same time, it's far enough away from 5th edition to be annoying.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they've hit exactly the wrong spot.
I'm getting a lot of questions from players about that actually in my games where they're asking me, are we switching to the new edition? I heard they're adding this. Are we going to use this? But like, I have been telling them, I think it's mostly made to fit a VTT because what I'm kind of seeing, and don't ask me to give examples of this because I've long forgotten, but what I'm kind of seeing is they're condensing the rules into things that are easily programmable and less subjective, which is kind of making me think it's mostly for their VTT. And I don't intend to switch to their VTT. So I've kind of just told players we're just going to keep on whatever we're doing now. But I'm getting poked quite a lot about that from players. So I don't know. Right.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of changes DM side on the new edition. That's not a new edition, but it looks like player wise, even as far as character creation and classes, that's going to be different enough to shake the tables up to where it's going to be. You'll have players going like, "What do you mean I don't have this ability now?" Or "What do you mean I have this ability now?" Or "What do you mean my race doesn't matter so much and now it's all class based or now it's background based and all this." So.
But how much that
go ahead?
How much of that though do you think is going to come from people who've never had to go through an edition change? People for whom 5th edition is their first.
Mm-hmm. Kind of what I wonder. It'll be interesting to see because, like I said, there's a lot of 5th edition babies who started with 5th edition and have never had to deal with an edition change. And even though they're saying it's not a new edition, it's like no, it's pretty much it's a new edition.
Well, I mean, that kind of brings up a question. I mean, we kind of in a way kind of make fun of that idea. We make jokes about that, and I guess to the question of how many of these people have gone out and at least tried other systems to where, just the idea of, well, the rules are different isn't going to actually be that big of an issue.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm curious about is when this new edition drops, are we going to have people just mass refusing to get into the new one and just trying to stay with the old stuff? Or are they going to completely bail on WotC altogether and go to something else like, like an OSR game or something? I mean, it's like we got the stats on all the game sales. Cyberpunk was number 3. It's like, are people gonna jump ship from Wizards of the Coast and jump over to our Talsorian and start playing all their stuff? I mean,
well, I think it's largely going to be Pathfinder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pathfinder 2nd Edition was the second big one.
So, a few things to note here. I think that the Cyberpunk anime was what drove people going to play the Cyberpunk game.
Mm-hmm.
Those might even have been people who would otherwise never have played a tabletop role playing game in the first place. Like I don't know if we have conversion stats, just absolute numbers. There's ambiguity there. I also think it's worth noting that Wizards of the Coast did something incredibly clever or incredibly stupid, but either way incredibly effective for them. In that, if Wizards of the Coast gets to be a lot of people's first and only RPG. It has that Kleenex level recognition of that is the entire product. Like a lot of times I want to explain tabletop role-playing games to someone, I have to start with, it's like D&D. Do you know what D&D is? And they say, oh yeah, Stranger Things. Say, okay, it's like that, but it's not quite like that.
Exactly.
And then I have to go from there. But they have a lot of players in there who've only ever played that. And if you know that you are only ever going to get players to play your RPG, I guess the smartest possible thing you could do would be to make it be a Byzantine, overly complicated game that spends 1/3 of its rules length on combat when none of the players who play it seem to actually enjoy the combats that much and has innumerable things to memorize and simultaneously combines the worst elements of rules minimalism with rules maximalism. Or you could just accomplish the same thing by kind of not having much commitment to art or good game design. But either way, that's where their player base is at. Realistically, a lot of them just only know this one, and they're absolutely convinced that any rules change will mean that they have to put as much effort into learning that as they did into learning 5th edition.
Well, and that does kind of bring up the thought of the character apps that Wizards of the Coast was able to put out. Because, I have a couple thoughts here on what you were saying. Because first, it's just Wizards of the Coast does have the benefit of Dungeons and Dragons having that name recognition that encapsulates an entire hobby. I try to tell people, oh, I'm going to go play Transformers, and they'll think I'm talking about toys. If I try to talk about like anything else, Pathfinder, people are going to look at people like my grandfather's going to look at me like he has no idea what I'm talking about. But I say Dungeons and Dragons, he gets it.
Yeah.
And also with the moving to the new edition, to the app, there's a potential to kind of further gum up the gameplay to be able to sort of rely on the an app for your character creators for rolling your stats. I know people who just refuse to do anything else except use an app for making their character. It does all the math for me.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. And just like the anime did such a big thing for Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate 3 kind of brought everybody back to 5e. So.
Yeah.
I think maybe some people will just stick with 5th edition as is. Some people will move to the new edition. Some people will stop playing. But for some amount of people, New edition, maybe I'll try a different game, or with Critical Role's Daggerheart and so on coming out, that's a huge contingent of people that are now aware that other games exist. So, that might turn out to pop people's cherry and get them to try even more RPGs that are out there.
Well, there's also the fact of new players coming in. New people coming in, they're going to look to what's available. They're not necessarily going to know to go and try to find older editions. They're just going to see, I don't know what to pick for all these role-playing games. Let's just play Dungeons and Dragons. What's the most readily available thing? It'll be the new edition.
Yeah. I think Sorry, go
on. That's what you get when new players are coming in with new groups. But I mean, a lot of times a lot of people's first exposure to this kind of stuff is at game shops with groups that are already playing a game. And I don't know that people particularly care what edition they're playing as long as it's Dungeons and Dragons when they're new to it. I think you have a really good point about that. Like most of my players, I hate saying this about them. I mean this I mean this very nicely, but they're most of my players are pretty much normies, and they're just they want to play Dungeons and Dragons. They don't care whether we're playing 5th edition, 2nd edition, Pathfinder edition. It doesn't matter to them. It's Dungeons and Dragons. About half of my players are like that. The other half are fairly opinionated about it. But so I mean, I think it's a lot of what people are playing is what new people are going to be playing. And when they get their books, if 5.5 or 6, I don't know what they're calling it. 1, I don't know. If those are what's available, that's what they're going to get. But yeah, you're right about that.
I think with new guys coming in after this edition is out, after they've done this transition to app and online play, those guys are very unlikely to come out of that walled garden that Wizards is constructing. And I think that's the whole point of it, is to lock people in to D&D and kind of stop them experiencing anything else, which is great from a business point of view, but from a cultural point of view, that's pretty awful.
They'll have never gone and made a character on paper by hand. An app always did it for them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even today, how many people have actually, broken out the old sheets of college ruled lined paper and written down everything manually the way we used to do it, 30 years ago.
That's how we liked it.
Well, there was a time that was what we did, because ready access to Xerox machines was not as prevalent as it is now. I remember
we rolled our dice uphill in the snow.
Well, I mean, my friends and I, we were broke. We didn't have jobs, so it was kind of like if somebody got a book for they got some birthday money or some Christmas money, and they went out and they bought a book. We spent our lunch money, over in the library, photocopying the shit out of those books. I think I still have several copies of some Palladium role-playing games that completely came off of a photocopier, just because we couldn't afford it back in the day. But those days are long past us now, and we old players are just relics of a bygone era, soon to turn to dust and be replaced by machines.
He's more machine than man.
But anyway,
I do have to wonder so to me at least, a question with the VTT that they're constructing or whatever, I haven't used it, so I wouldn't know, is just at a certain point you're kind of just playing Final Fantasy Tactics, right? Or whatever. You're basically playing a video game as part of your tabletop role-playing experience. And I kind of have to wonder, why bother? Why not just play one or the other? But maybe that's just me being old. I don't know. Maybe that's really, really appealing to someone 10 years younger than me.
I mean, either way, we're going to be yelling at Cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're brave admitting to photocopying plays. Hey, well, just in my defense, Angry Piper, I've gone back since and bought actual copies of those books. So I'm not, I haven't taken any money away from Kevin Sambita. Okay, I mean, I promise you, I actually have physical copies of those books, and probably a ton more that I didn't need because I worked in a game shop, and that's where I kept buying all my books from after I started working there.
And also, to be fair, Palladium's production value isn't much beyond photocopying anyway.
Pretty true. Pretty true.
Actually, I don't know. I think he eventually switched over, but he was one of the last designers to switch over to not literally doing physical layout.
Yeah.
Like he was literally cutting things out and putting them down on a paper manually and then photocopying it, and that's what I heard, at least. I don't know if that's true. Apologies if that's false, but that's what I heard.
No, that's how we used to do it in the newspaper.
As far as I understand that is how it was. You can see it in some of the old books. There's a little bit of shadow on the edge of where
Mm-hmm.
something was pasted in. It's
Hey,
old school.
Old days. The old days. But anyway, well, our hour is up. Taylor, did you have anything you wanted to promote before we end the show, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Go check out Evil Undead campaign. It's pay what you want, so just
Do
go
you have a
and
link
read
for
it.
us?
Yeah.
If you'll toss it in the
I'll put it
private
in
chat.
All right.
All right. Let me copy paste. Speaking of old people trying to figure out technology, here you go, guys. This is Taylor's itch.io, so you can check out all of his stuff there. Do you do any other systems or services?
Drive-through RPG.
Okay.
It's also on there. I promote it less because they don't give me as big of a cut.
Because you're not exclusive.
There's an ooze
Yeah.
class. I'm sold.
Yes.
There's an ooze class?
There's an ooze class.
There's an ooze class, yeah.
Hey. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Ginger, you don't have like a slime girl kink, do you?
No. Why would you why would you think that? No.
Because you got all excited.
You
about
did.
the ooze class.
The lore
Okay.
expands.
We don't kink shame. It's fine.
Wow, there's a ghost class too, guys.
Okay, yeah. But you noticed the ooze one first.
This is all going
Yeah.
into my fan fiction, guys.
My magical realm.
Your ginger fan fiction. Oh no.
I love it when you're on Harmonies. Razzing you is half the show.
It's good. You can say whatever you want about me. You can say stuff about me when I'm not here too. I just won't know.
We don't do that. It's more fun to see you turn blushing and laugh and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now
but
I'm
yeah.
not gonna play the ooze class because everyone's gonna think it's a kink. All right.
You can't play an
I
ooze
wouldn't-
anyway. Oozes don't have asses for people to eat, so that's no
Yeah.
good for you.
She's
Eat
never
my
gonna
ass
get
with grin.
Nani?
All right, bye guys.
All right.
Oh, we're wrapping up anyway.
Yes, we are wrapping up.
I think I said that to Grim, and I think it was Ironcaster that said that. I'm sorry.
Oh, and we do have a DTRPG also, so we'll put that up for you guys. Ba-bing. All right, and if you're catching us on the replay, hey, thanks for catching us on the replay. Subscribe, please, because we need those subscriber numbers, and let people know about us because we're still at it, man. 4 years and we're still at it. Coming up on our 5th year anniversary here pretty soon. We'll get there though.
Congratulations. Oh, we lost Taylor.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Hi, Taylor.
I guess he thought we were done.
Mm.
No, we were just kind of popping around.
We were faffing about. But oh, here he is. He's back.
Oh, I just
Did you
sent him.
Did you lose connection?
No, I accidentally. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't see you, but
Okay. Yeah, I
Push the button.
Did it again.
his device. Okay.
Oh,
He's back again.
I very stupidly tried to look at the YouTube channel in the browser tab that I was currently casting from.
Oh.
Very
Okay.
nice.
I've done that. It happens.
Yeah.
Well, it was
All right,
lovely to
everyone.
meet you.
You as well, Harmony.
All right. Well, y'all take care. As far as I know, there's not going to be a game tomorrow because I've got family obligation stuff because it's Easter. I think Grim is also taking the day off.
Yes, I am bushed from dealing with Discord tech support and spam bots and scammers and shit. So
So yes.
next week,
Next week there'll be something.
wait, literal shit.
well,
Well,
to an extent, because one of the cats shat in the middle of the hall. So yeah,
Oh,
anyway, but do catch us on Tuesday when I'm sure we're going to have some more fun stuff for you. I mean, I'm already compiling things for us to rant about on Tuesday.
I mean, there's a whole list of new words for the Oxford Dictionary.
Oh dear. Are we going to have to go through them?
I mean, we can.
I don't think
it's all
people
Japanese words.
people are not going to tune in to an hour's worth of us going through all new words.
Well, I got people entertained for an hour just going off of like emergency room visits.
Yes, but that was entertaining because we were curious about what people were stuffing up their ass. Anyway, y'all take care. Have a great week in Geek, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.
A life